I'm overwhelmed. Look at my books.
Sometimes foreshadowing is relatively obvious.
Hi, friends. Today I realized I have a problem with my book buying habits because my last book haul was filmed a month ago, like 5 weeks ago. And the amount of books sitting beside me right now to tell you guys about my next haul is too much. I'm overwhelmed, a little bit stressed. I will be sitting on the floor in front of my pretty bookcase, which I need to do a tour of my bookcases one day. But like, that's my favorite bookcase in my room, just FYI. I will be sitting on the floor for like the next hour easily. There's going to be a lot of footage for my lovely editor and brother and best friend Joe to go through. You guys would have met him last time. So as I said, I'm overwhelmed. I'm not sure where to start. So I'm just going to pick up a book and we're just gonna get started. Okay, the first one I have is called The Twisted Ones by T. Kingfisher. I also purchased The Hollow Places by T. Kingfisher. T. Kingfisher, from what I've learnt, is that he writes strange horrors. Things that, like, they're just weird. They're weird, magical realism-esque. So I read A House with Good Bones. I liked the writing style, but the weird ending was weird. These two are about, I think one of them is about a mysterious bunker that a girl discovers and something happens. And this one is about a girl going through her grandmother's house. Her grandmother was a hoarder, and then she finds something scary. Impossible terrors. So I got these two from World of Books, which is the Australian version of Thrift Books. I think they were like $10-ish each. So I've got those ones. Next, another one from World of Books, and I'm so disappointed in this cover. It is so, I can't even know, I don't know if you can tell. It is sparkly. Barely you can see it. It's called Finding Love at the Christmas Market by Joe Thomas. I've been collecting some books to read for Christmas. Most of them are obviously romances. This is one that came up on a lot of like Christmas romance lists, but I'm so turned off by this cover. As soon as I opened the parcel, it was like, I think I said, also from World of Books. I was about to just, oh, okay, unhaul it. Put it in my unhaul pile because I don't want this ugly ass cover in my life. Is that shallow of me? Yes, but I think I spent enough money on books in my lifetime to be judgy on the books that I pay money for. Basically, this woman, it's Christmas, she's single. She gets set up with a guy who works at the Christmas market, but then she actually ends up falling for his enemy. Or something like that. Moving swiftly along, we have got a new release from an author I've read from before. We have got A Twisted Love Story by Samantha Downing. I read My Lovely Wife.
My wife!
Her first release, which I loved. I flew through it. Her thrillers, well, the one that I read, the single one I've read. Very quick paced, very fast. This one is basically about a super toxic relationship that when things are great, they're really great, and when they're not, they're really bad. And it's somehow a thriller/drama situation here. And I'm very excited to read it because I'm reading a book right now that I'm not invested in, and I think I'm going to need to move on. Next is a book that was popping off on the book talk. Everyone and their mum was talking about this book and sharing this one TikToker's video about it. It is called Murder in the Family by Cara Hunter. This book is meant to be really unique because, I don't know if you can see, it's told in like interviews. Well, there's a lot of interviews. Newspaper articles, that's an autopsy report possibly. And the tagline is, "One body, 6 experts. Can you solve the case before they do?" I don't think I can, but I'm going to give it a shot. I love books that aren't in just a traditional like prose format. I do like ones that throw something extra into the mix, you know. So I picked up that one from Amazon. I think it was $16 possibly, or maybe it was from Big W. Big W has been popping off with the book talk books lately, which we will get into shortly. I bought this book secondhand on Facebook Marketplace. It was $5 and it is The Wedding Crasher by Mia Sosa. I know that this is the second book in like a companion series, so I do want to get the first book at some point, but I love like a rom-com that takes place around a wedding. Like, I just finished The Spanish Love Deception and I really enjoyed it, so I really want to get the first book and then I can read them back to back. Next, this was a World of Books purchase. It is Goblin by Josh Malerman. It is a book that takes place in 6 novellas. So the 6 novellas are like their own individual stories, but all together they create a novel. And I know that it's just about a town called Goblin. I like the cover. It's like all worn and faded, and I'm here for those vibes. I've had some people stop reading this book because of some sort of problematic nature, but I mean, if you watch my last video, I have no issues with problematic situations in books. The more problematic, the better. So chuck it in as many stories as you can, Josh Mellerman. Next, I have one, which I think this was pitched to me originally, because I'm obsessed with Black Mirror. Like, there are very few episodes I dislike of Black Mirror because I just find all the concepts interesting. And it's gonna make me sound like an intellectual girly. I swear I'm not. It's gonna make me sound like a tryhard. I kind of am a little bit, but I'm a Black Mirror girly through and through. So I was scouring the interwebs, trying to find as many books that had Black Mirror vibes as possible. Some of them I've read, I couldn't even tell you. I mean, like, anything by John Mars is pretty Black Mirror-esque. Out There by Kate Folk, that short story collection, very Black Mirror vibes. But that is what I need in my life, you know? This book came up on one of those lists. So this is a horror / magical realism / science fiction / fantastical / surreal Black Mirror type book. It is called Cursed Bunny. It is by Bora Chung, translated by Anton Her. So this is a short story collection. I love bunnies and rabbits as a motif, so she's cute. I read the first page of the first short story in this with my best friend, Sarah. I don't even know if she remembers. She probably, well, I mean, how could you forget? It was about a woman who, like, she goes to the bathroom, and as she tries to flush, there is a fucking head in the toilet bowl that starts calling her mum. Mama, don't flush me. It was bizarre. I have no idea what the story is about. I read that page to Sarah, and we were like, what the fuck is this? I'm excited. I like weird fiction. I don't like magical realism, but if it's just, like, a little bit surreal, we can work with it. Moving swiftly along, we have one in a similar kind of tone, similar genre. It is a horror short story collection. It is 19 Claws and a Blackbird by Augustina Basterica, the same author that wrote Tender is the Flesh. So this is another reference to my last video because I really, really love that video and I hope you guys watch it. It had my best friend in it, so you have to watch it. And it was edited. The first video I've ever had on my channel that has been edited. Watch it. Anyway, this book has 20 short stories, so 19 Claws and a Blackbird adds up to 20. Tense, macabre stories, bodies falling from the sky, weird stuff. Tender is the Flesh was kind of a weird book. I really enjoyed it though. I've seen people that haven't enjoyed this as much as Tender is the Flesh, but I'm hoping that those people just don't like short stories. So we're gonna give it a shot. And considering there's 20 stories in here, it is a tiny ass little book. But I'm still excited. And we may as well just keep chugging along on this train track. The next one I have is also a short story collection. It is called It Was All a Dream, an anthology of bad horror tropes done right. So this has got how many... Well, I don't know how many stories it's got, because why would you have the number of stories? Oh, there is a lot of stories. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13... 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 20, 26 stories in this collection. And each of them, I've read the intro, is basically a horror trope that everyone is sick to death of hearing, but done in a way that is fresh and interesting. So for example, I feel like when we were children and everyone was reading Goosebumps, I think that's a thing that happened in a lot of the stories. Like, I woke up and it was all a dream, or I woke up and none of it had happened. You know what I mean? And I loved that as a kid because it was fresh, but as an adult, even like as someone who's gone through a lot of writing courses in my life, that is the biggest no. Like, there are 2 rules basically that I've always, like, classes have started with is show, don't tell, and second of all, don't end it with something cliche like it was all a dream. So this is subverting, is that the correct word? Subverting the horror expectations that we've all come to know and dislike. So that is one of the tropes. I don't know what the other ones are. I would assume, like, popular horror tropes, like I woke up and it was all a dream, or it was the last person you'd expect. That would be really interesting, that, like, a short story where the person you suspect as the murderer or whatever from the first page actually ends up being the murderer, because it is very hard to be like, it's the person you least expect. Like, don't just blame the creepy old guy who collects guns because he collects guns. It could be someone else, you know? So I'm very excited to read this one as well. Let's turn our attention to Big W for a few seconds. Big W has been taking, well, I can't, this isn't a Big W thing. A lot of the romance authors that I read that are indie all somehow get picked up by traditional publishing, like a lot of them. So here's my honest truth, guys. Do you want to know a secret? I do not like admitting on the internet because I feel like people are going to rip into me. I don't like indie covers of books. Like 9 out of 10 times the indie cover is so, like, first of all, indie books, the dimensions are weird. They are like a little bit taller than most paperbacks, but a little bit shorter than like other paperbacks. The pages can sometimes be weirdly thick or weirdly thin. Sometimes the font is ugly and sometimes the covers are ugly. Look, we'll see an example of that exact issue I have with indie published books later in this video. Actually, I'll pull it out so we can talk about it next, because oh, it's right on top. We'll talk about this particular book that I hate the cover of next. However, with B.K. Borrison's series, The Lovelight Farms, the covers were beautiful. The issue is, it is a trilogy, and I only purchased 2 in the indie covers, and then I bought the 3rd book in the traditional published covers, which was significantly smaller. Like, it's the same design, but it's changed a bit. The color's been changed. It's, yeah, just a smaller book. And generally speaking, I prefer my books to match on my shelves. If for whatever reason they don't, it doesn't stress me out. But I think the issue I had with these was that it wasn't just like the cover sizes were different or whatever. It was that it was full on like indie published versus traditionally published, and they were just so different. So what I did earlier today is I posted the 2 indie covers I had off to someone in South Australia. She purchased them from me, and with the money I spent with the money I received selling the 2 indie books, I was able to buy the entire Lovelight Farms series from Big W. Can we talk about how beautiful these covers are? So the only book I read is Lovelight Farms. I read it last Christmas for Christmas season, so I haven't read these 2, but they're all so beautiful. I want nothing more than to have these on my shelves, beautifully displayed like they are. Like, look how beautiful. So they were $12 each from Big W. So heads up, if you've been interested in these books, $12 at Big W, which is significantly cheaper than the indie published ones were when I purchased them. So get your hands on these books. Now, I was going to talk about Big W. We were going to have a segment for Big W here, but I do need to talk about a book that I bought because I love this book. It is hilarious and gory and disgusting, and I love it, and I've wanted to own it for a really long time, since I read it. My biggest issue was, it is an ugly ass cover. So this is like, going back to what I just said, it is an indie published cover, and I hate it. And I feel so bad because I know that this author is active on social media, so he might one day, 5 years from now, run across this. I don't know. And I'm so sorry if he's the one who designed the cover. Oh, he didn't. Okay, well, it makes me feel a little bit better that I'm not talking shit about this author because I love his books so much. I do not like this cover art, and I'm so sorry to Aaron Beauregard for putting this artwork on Wedding Day Massacre, which is what I would call a good book. I think it is an interesting book. I loved reading it, and I'm so angry that to have a copy of it on my shelf, I had to buy this cover. Like, sure, does it encapsulate what the book is about? Kind of. But do we really need the fucking highlighted pink against a purple sky? I don't think so. I feel so sassy right now. Basically, this book, I haven't actually told you what any of these books are about so far, but I've read this one. This book is about a couple who are getting married. But then, like, lol jokes, it turns out the groom has set this entire thing up just so he can literally slaughter everyone in attendance. Old people, kids, close family, close friends, like his mom and dad, her mom and dad. Like, he doesn't give a shit. He and his little, like, jester looking buddy, just, it's like Saw versus Battle Royale. Like, you are gonna have to play these games with each other where you'll likely end up dead or severely injured, and the last person standing wins. It's so good. I would argue that this, I can't talk. I would argue that this is 100% better than Playground. I know that Playground was the one that everyone on the internet was talking about, and I read it and I was slightly underwhelmed. This book, I was whelmed. It is a good book. It's just an ugly cover. So I hope some disgusting publishing house that likes splatterpunk and likes people dying and likes all the gross stuff that Aaron Beauregard writes about, if they could pick up his books and give them nicer looking covers. I mean, covers for horror don't have to be ugly, but his always are. So moving swiftly along, we're going to jump right on back to Big W. I just needed to prove a point that is an ugly cover. Sorry about that, Aaron. I got a pre-order of, we are not even talking about Big W. This video is all over the place. I definitely should have organized it, so this is going to make things significantly harder for my brother. But anyway, I pre-ordered The Long Game by Elena, oh my god, Aramis, on Amazon. It was $12. I just finished reading The Spanish Love Deception, as I said earlier, and I loved it. So I want to read The American Roommate, Experiment, and then The Long Game, because I liked her books. I don't know what this is about, but it was $12 on Amazon. If you feel so inclined, get on Amazon and get it for yourself. Oh, my foot is going numb. Okay, I think we're back to Big W for the most part. Yes, okay. I mean, I bought... Oh yeah, never mind. Okay, so Big W, killing it. We have The 7 Year Slip, which is by Ashley Poston. This is the follow-up to The Dead Romantics, which I didn't read. It was one of my Spooktober books that I wanted to read last year, because it's about ghosts. I think it's a romance between a person and a ghost, and I tried it and I just like wasn't vibing with it at the time. I'm sure it's a good book, and I'm sure one day I'll go back to it and I will love it, but I just wasn't in the mood for it. I'd read a full ass month of horrors and thrillers and depraved, disgusting stuff, and then there was a romance and I wasn't vibing. But this is the follow-up. I don't know where I read it, but I think there is a character in this that is mentioned in the first book, or vice versa. This is about a woman who finds a strange man in her kitchen. He's really nice. We really like him. The problem is that he lives 7 years in the past. I don't know how it works. I don't know the logistics. I don't know if it's a magic system or a sci-fi problem, but it sounded interesting, and that one was, I think it was $12 at Big W. Then I have got a Marple. This book I saw ages ago, but I didn't want to spend money on it at the time because I'd never heard of it. But now I was in a mood yesterday. So, not yesterday, the day before. So I just whatever. I was just chucking everything into my arms. I'm going to buy all the books here. This is 12 authors writing short stories about Mrs. Marple. Is that her name? Miss Marple. Agatha Christie's one of her detective characters. So we've got authors like Leigh Bardugo, Alyssa Cole, Lucy Foley, Karen McManus, and Ruth Ware, who are writing short stories about an Agatha Christie character. I'm intrigued. I think this is a mix of mystery short stories, which I'm going to enjoy, and like an ode to Agatha Christie. And I like Agatha Christie books. They're safe, they can be a little bit boring, but they're nice. We like them. So I picked up this one to see what these authors can do. And I wonder if they're going to have like the same writing style, the same tones, or if it's their interpretation of Agatha Christie. That one was $12, $16, something. Next, we have got the last book in the Broke and Beautiful series by Tessa Bailey, which is Make Me. So I already had Chase Me and Need Me from Big W previously, and then I saw this one. I didn't even know it had been released, and I picked it up. And I did also not know until recently that these books by Tessa Bailey were released back in like 2012, 2015, and she's since rebranded them with cutesy covers that can be sold at Big W as opposed to the naked man covers they used to have. I just think it's a bit funny. She was like, okay, it's a smutty book. We're gonna have naked men on the cover. It's gonna appeal to my Amazon audience. And then like friggin', what's her most popular book? My Killer Vacation? Was that probably the first big popular one? Which had a cutesy like illustrated style on the cover, and she went, oh, that's how to get into Big W. So she posted. I love. I don't know what this is about, but I love it. It's hysterical to me. Next, I bought the sequel to, what is it called? I have it on my shelf. The sequel to King of Battle and Blood, which is Queen of Myth and Monsters by Scarlett St. Clair. I obviously haven't read the first book, but I know this is like a vampire story about Adrian and, is it Isolde? Is that her name? Isolde?
Isolde.
So yeah, I couldn't tell you what that one is about in particular, but it's a sequel to a book I own, so obviously I had to buy it. Okay, I think we're done with Big W. We have one I purchased on Amazon. I think it was about $13. It's called You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight by Kaylin Byron. This is the same author who wrote Cinderella is Dead. I did not read that book because I was not interested in it, but I am interested in this one. It has very like Friday the 13th vibes. Basically, a bunch of teenagers get roles to play at a summer camp, so guests pay to come to this camp and experience like classic horror movie scenes, but then people actually start dying. They're not acting anymore. People are actually getting killed.
If you get killed in someone else's dream, you die for real, Morty. What? Are you kidding me?
And it's exciting. Look at the cover. Like that is such an October vibe. Like I'm very excited. Next, I have got The Vacation by John Mars. I was saying before that he is like an author for Black Mirror girlies. And all of his books kind of have a similar formula, but I think the plot and the characters change significantly enough that it isn't boring. All of his books, from the two that I've read, which was The One and The Passengers, is it's a bunch of characters getting shoved into a situation or all having a connection for some reason or the other, and they all have secrets, and all their secrets are revealed, and the reveals are so good, and the chapters are so short, and they're so fast paced. So I don't even know what this is about. I think it's about a bunch of people that go on vacation. They're all running from something, and the secrets are revealed, and that is just my vibe. So thank you, John Mars. He's part of one of the Facebook groups I'm a part of. I love seeing John Mars post stuff about his books or comment on other people's reviews of his books. Like, he is an author. It just gives me such happy vibes. So we love John Mars in this house. Actually, we do. My mum's also read The One by John Mars and she loved it, and I forced my bestie Sarah to read it and she liked it. Maybe she loved it. I don't know how she felt about it. I know that it was a positive feeling. So we do love John Mars in this house. Next, I have got a book I bought from World of Books, but this one was actually in brand new condition. It's called Just Like Home by Sarah Gailey. This is a potential haunted house story about a woman who goes back to her childhood home where her dad, who was a serial killer, murdered his victims and buried their bodies underneath the house. And she goes back there as an adult, and I'm guessing some shit's going to go wrong. And I love this cover. I just think it is so it's such an aesthetic, you know, like it is such a good vibe. I just think it is beautiful. Next, I got a special edition of one of my favorite books. I don't know if I've ever talked about this book on this channel because this channel is so fresh and I read this book so long ago. It is called Brightside by Kim Holden. This is the Beyond, no it's not, this is the Bookworm Box edition. So it has got a different cover and it also is signed by the author, and it also has, nope, I thought this had an author's note. Am I crazy? Oh, I must have passed it. An author's note. It's scanned in, but it's still an author's note. This book made me cry, and the indie cover I have right now is I hope my brother can find the cover, the original cover, and find it here. In as much description as I can give you, it is a solid orange cover that has the title Brightside in black, like curly sort of font. That is the cover. There's nothing on the cover. It's just orange. And that, I remember the first time, because it was like a $40 book at the time. This was before I used my brother's Amazon Prime. This was before I had money, before I had a job. And I remember spending $40 on this book, and I was expecting it to be like a traditionally published book, like the same feel, the same size, and instead I get this big ass orange cover, and it was just an awkward height and an awkward width. And I remember being like, I spent $40 potentially more on this book. Like, I love this book, but this cover has no right being on my shelves. And we have now solved that problem. I don't know what I'm going to do with the cover, the copy I already own. It is, like I said, a traditional, no, the original indie cover isn't even a cover. That's kind of something, like, I'm no shade to Kim Holden, the author. I feel like I could have designed something better on Microsoft Word when I was in primary school. So yeah, that's why I'm so happy. Like, this is just a landscape, but it is still a cover, you know, it is still cover art. There's actual things on the cover. So yeah, don't know what I'm gonna do with my old copy that is sitting on my second highest shelf, because, like, memories, you know, good memories. But yeah, this book made me cry a lot. I don't know if it would hold up if, like, I read this book today. I don't know if it would hit 2023 stuff the same as it hit, like, 2012 stuff. Maybe it would. Or maybe it would just be cringe. You know what I mean? I actually don't know. Who's to say? Why risk it? Let's just leave the happy thoughts where they are in my head and never read that book again. I'm joking, kind of. Next, I got a bunch of Christmassy reads to show you guys. I got Nick and Noelle's Christmas Playlist by Cody Hall. This is from Amazon. I think it was like $12. Then from World of Books, I got There's Something About Mary by Cody Hall. And I don't know if you can tell, but these are the first two books in a trilogy, and they just seem like good Christmassy vibes. This is a Friends to Lovers, and this is a talking online, doesn't know each other's true identity, I think, and I'm here for them. I'm gonna put all my Christmassy books, like, it is September, my dudes. We haven't even hit Spooktober yet, and I'm already thinking about Christmas. But I'm putting all my Christmas books on a specific place on my shelf because I don't want to have to go digging through them on December 1st. But keeping right along with this Christmas theme, I have got two more Christmas books to show you. One of them is called Dear Monster Claus by Maeve Black. This looks like a potential, like, Cupid / angel romance with a demon. I don't know what these characters, like, what they are supposed to be, but I just thought the cover art was really adorable, and I bought it, so we got that. And then the last one I've got for Christmas is The 12 Days of Christmas by Jenny Bayliss. This is about a girl, and she gets set up on 12 blind dates leading up to Christmas because she is single, and it's one of those that was love in front of her the whole time. Was it actually her best friend this whole time? Spoiler, it most definitely is going to be her best friend she's in love with, because that's what happens in books. If there is some, like, woman trying to find love and she's got a male best friend at the start of the book, that is who she's going to end up with. So that, I already know the plot of that book, but I'm going to read it come December. I've got a couple more Amazons, and then I've got a couple more that I bought today, and then you are good to go, my friends. So these were a few more from my, like, oh, Black Mirror girlies kind of phase that I have not entered or finished. Earthlings. This is by Sayaka Maruta. I've got Convenience Store Woman by this author. I've read that one. I enjoyed it. It was interesting. This is supposed to be gory. People have told me that this book is gory. It's about a woman who thought that when she was a kid, she thought that she was an alien stuck on Earth with all these humans. And now it's kind of like she got taught, like, no, you're also human, like, sorry. But now that she's an adult, she's like, when can I escape these Earthlings? I don't want to be around humans anymore. So I don't know how that translates to gory, but it's supposed to be Black Mirror-esque. So she's staying for now. I also bought the most beautiful cover I've ever seen on a book. It is called Our Wives Under the Sea by Julia Armfield. Look at this cover. I don't know if you guys know this about me, but I'm 100% straight, right? There's not even, like, I can appreciate beauty in other women, but there is, like, a 0 chance of me being attracted to them, wanting to date. Like, I'm just the straightest girl I know. I'm so, like, straight as a dick.
Straight as a dick.
But I find so much beauty in women, right? Like, I've got a lot of naked ladies on my shelves. I'm pretty sure there are some, that right there is my sexy lady. I bought a sexy lady mold, and I made it out of resin. There's a sexy lady mushroom, a sexy lady face, and Billie Eilish's perfume is a sexy lady silhouette. I love women. Like, they're just aesthetically beautiful. I think that this woman's face, as blurry and, like, underwater as it looks, I think it is a beautiful cover. I love the colors. I love the font style. Like, I love... It's all so good. So, I don't know why people are calling this a Black Mirror girly book, but apparently it's about a woman named Leah. Her wife, Mary, has... No, reverse that. Mary, is like, why there's something wrong with her wife. Like, her wife Leah has just come back from a deep sea mission, where it ended traumatically. It ended badly. Something bad happened at the end of this mission, and Mary doesn't know, basically she doesn't know how to fix Leah. So I think it's about like their marriage kind of falling apart, but also like, what the fuck happened underwater?
Hello, how are you? I am under the water. Please help me. Here too much raining.
Like, why is Leah acting like this? I'm a little bit intrigued. The last book for the Black Mirror girlies is Just Like Mother by Annnnnd. I can't read that backwards. Heltzel. This was a Goodreads Choice nominee last year for 2022 in the horror category. I've heard great things about this book. The cover creeps me out. Look at those fucking shiny glossy eyes. I hate it, and I'm very excited to read it. The last one I have from Amazon is Archer's Voice by Mia Sheridan. Same with what I did with the Love Light Farm series. I had the original indie published cover of Archer's Voice, which had the naked man back, and apparently people really want that cover for some reason, so I sold it for like $45 on Facebook Marketplace, and then picked up the cover I prefer for $12. So I made a profit on a book I didn't really like looking at, and now I really like looking at this. It matches the two other books in it's not the Seasons of Love series. Oh, I thought that these standalones had a series name. Well, either way, this cover matches Most of All You and More Than Words by Mia Sheridan, so very excited. That can stay on my shelves. And we are to the final three. I went to the post office this morning, like I said earlier, to send off a parcel to South Australia. I also had a parcel of slime to pick up, because I'm that bitch now. I bought slime. It smells like watermelon and it is so fun to touch. But after that, I was like, I need some retail therapy that isn't going to cost me like $300. So I went to the secondhand store, Salvos. Yeah. So I went to Salvos and I found a couple of books. One, I was like, yoink, because I wanted to buy it from Kmart, but it's like $22 at Kmart and I'm not that invested in it. One, I've heard some good things about, so I'm going to keep it until I'm doing an unhaul, probably, because I just don't feel like I'm ever going to get to it. I might, but we'll see. For $4, we'll have to wait and see. And then the last one is one that I saw it and I was like, do I not have that book? And I checked Libib and I did not, so I purchased it. So the first one that I was so excited to see is called Untamed by Glennon Doyle. It is like kind of a self-help book. Basically about, so it's it's half memoir and half wake-up call about like, why are you so stuck in your cage? Like, you do what people expect you to do, you be who people want you to be, and that's all you do with your life. Like, aren't you sick of it? Wake up, friend. So this is, yeah, $22 at Kmart, and I wanted to pick it up just because like I'm mildly intrigued, but I didn't want to spend $22 on it. Like, $22 is a lot for slightly intrigued. But for $4, it's a lot more reasonably priced. So I got this one for $4. Then I saw The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. For the record, I did not enjoy The Night Circus. I thought The Night Circus was a very overhyped book where everything was overdescribed and yet there was no plot. Like, nothing actually really happened in that book. So I'm not sure how we're going to go with The Starless Sea, but I do think the cover is stunning, and I know that it is about someone who stumbles into a library, and I like books. So that one was $3. I picked it up. And the last one I got is The Whisper Man by Alex North, because I've already put it away. The Whisper Man and The Shadow Friend together make like a full cover. Like, the design on Shadow Friend mirrors up here, and I decided for $3 that that's what I needed in my life. And I really thought, you know what my issue is that the person who wrote, well, I don't know the authors' names, right? So I always get the Whisper Man and the Chalk Man confused. They are two different books. They are two different novels. They came out, I feel like they came out close to each other. So whenever I hear the Chalk Man, I forget that the Whisper Man exists. And when I hear the Whisper Man, I forget the Chalk Man exists. And in my head, these two books are the same book. They're not. So I picked up this one for $3 because I know I already own the Chalk Man. I am still overwhelmed, right? Oh, that is all the books. If you want to leave, you can. I'm still overwhelmed because I have realized in my stupidity this late in the game, I now have to put all these books back on my shelves. Oh, I've got such bad hay fever. I've been shitting so much today. This is kind of me talking to my editor. This is kind of me talking to you guys. Like, Joe, feel free to leave this in. I've, had the worst hay fever today because it is so windy in Melbourne right now. Like, it's bad winds. Like, wind warnings all over social medias. I just shat 3 times because I ate a sandwich for lunch. I had a chicken sandwich that I bought from a supermarket, and apparently not good. That'll just keep making me shit. I'm too lazy to do anything with my hair, which is why it's looking like this today, because, you know, sometimes I like to straighten my hair and look presentable. Today was not that day. I washed my hair, actually, when did I wash it? 2 days ago? 3 days ago? Oh my god, look at it at the back. And obviously I went out in the wind before, which has made it significantly more like, whoa. But I went to work like this yesterday, right? I do not care about anything right now. I just am so, I'm so over my fucking nose. I hate, I hate that. Anyway, I think 40 minutes is long enough. Let's just stop this where I am. Have a good day. If you want to subscribe, go for it. If you don't, and you never want to see me again, tell YouTube that you do not want to see this face in your recommended. Because, honestly, who wants to see this face, right? Except for my brother. He thinks I'm cute because he has to. Because I'm adorable. I'm kidding.